All right, everybody, welcome back to the locker room. Well, the guy next to me may not be a household face right just yet, but you'll hear from him quite a bit in a couple weeks. It is the new play-by-play voice of the Fort Wayne TinCaps, Mr. Mike Couzens. And Mike, first off, welcome to Fort Wayne. You settled in, you got a place and everything. Fort Wayne treating you well?
Ready to go. It's been beautiful weather since I've been here. Everything is close by that I've found so far. I'm at a beautiful ballpark, and I really like it so far.
I thought you were going to say you met a beautiful girl. That's my problem right now. But
that would be a little fast.
That
a couple weeks in, I got pretty lucky.
I'm still waiting, so that's my biggest problem. So, right off the bat, just give me your story. How did you get to Fort Wayne?
Well, I'll go, I guess, in chronological order from when I left school. I went to Syracuse University, graduated in December of 2010, and that summer of 2010, I worked with the minor league team in town, the Syracuse Chiefs, which are the AAA team for the Washington Nationals. Okay. Then I got out of school in March of 2011. I worked for the Dayton Dragons, not too far down the road in the Midwest League. And then last winter, I worked as the play-by-play voice for the University of Vermont women's basketball team, and then came here to Fort Wayne.
How would you describe your style and your philosophy to play-by-play in baseball? And I've told you this yesterday. To me, baseball is the hardest sport to broadcast because there's so much downtime. I mean, what is your philosophy and style towards broadcasting baseball games?
I really like to have fun. That's the biggest thing for me, is that, sports are a diversion from our everyday life.
Yeah.
And I think when you tune in, whether it's on TV or on the radio this year, and you hear anybody on the broadcast, I think we all want to have fun. We all want to entertain you. We want you to have a good time to tune in. And so that it's like, well, hey, I'm really glad that I can spend my Wednesday night or my Saturday afternoon with Mike and Kent or with Mike Moss on the radio, that it's all going to be really exciting. And I like to be as descriptive as possible, too, especially on the radio, because your obligation is to the listener, because they're not there, they can't see what's going on. You need to be able to fill in every detail. But at the same time, you got to have a sense of humor, too.
Absolutely.
It's fun. It's a 3-hour ball game. You don't want to be just the facts.
And that's my biggest question, is because you see sometimes these broadcasters, it's a 3-hour baseball game, and it's like the boring. I mean, baseball by nature isn't the funnest sport, but you just got to let it breathe a little bit. So that was one of my big questions there. Second off, when I was a kid growing up, and I grew up in Cleveland, I idolized some of the Indians broadcasters, some of the local TV guys. Who are some of the guys that maybe you grew up idolizing or you wanted to emulate a little bit?
I grew up in New York, so I'm a big Mets fan. And as I say, for better or for worse, but mostly for my time, for worse, since they haven't been very good. But Gary Cohen is a guy who I really like. I like listening to him on the radio, and then he moved over to TV. I grew up with him. I'm a really big fan of Dave O'Brien of the Boston Red Sox, who works with Joe Castiglione on radio.
Yep.
And then he goes over and does stuff for ESPN on television.
Yes, sir.
And I like John Shambi, too. He's a younger play-by-play guy. It tends to be in the majors, guys who are in their 50s and 40s and a little bit older sometimes. But I think he's really good, and he does Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN with Chris Singleton. He's really entertaining, too.
Any butterflies heading into this thing at all?
No, I think not right now. But as we get closer to opening day, I think if you don't have those butterflies, you're maybe in the wrong spot. You got to be a little bit nervous.
Sure.
It's just like a baseball player. Anytime they go out there, it's not necessarily whether I'm going to get promoted that day. That's on the line for me. But I think if you're not a little bit nervous, then you got to step back and say, hey, I got to be ready for this. I got to know what's at stake every day. Because if you're not nervous, then you're not going to be as excited and ready to go. So you get that, and that helps you to settle in a lot to the broadcast.
What do you think, for the folks that are going to listen to you on the radio at home, what do you think, I guess, what is your goal? What do you want them to take away from one of your broadcasts?
I want somebody to tune in and say, not only do I know what happened in that ball game, but I learned something new today. I want you to be able to say, you know what? I do like tuning in, and I want to tune in again and again, because not only do I get to hear a great baseball game, but I'm going to learn something and maybe laugh along the way too.
Now, I want to know what your answer is on this. What is the biggest mistake a play-by-play guy could make?
I think the biggest mistake you can make as a play-by-play guy is to not give the score and the inning, or we say commonly time and score for football and basketball, but the score and the inning. Because if you're tuning in, especially on radio, if you're in the car and you're driving home from work, or if you're getting out of a dinner, or it's late night and you're just tuning in, you don't want to hear me telling a story and you don't know what's going on in the game. The most important thing is to set the scene. What inning is it? What's the score? And then everything else can come after.
Mike, best of luck to you. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks. Glad to be here.